The ball is in Russia's court on whether or not it is prepared to accept a 30-day ceasefire deal reached after hours of talks between top US and Ukrainian officials. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio says he sees no military solution to this conflict. The Kremlin, though, says it's waiting on Washington for details. Mr. Rubio, who represented the US in discussions, said talks were positive, adding that Washington will be contacting Moscow today about this agreement. Ukrainian Representative Andriy Yermak maintained that Ukraine wants peace, saying it's up to Russia to decide if it also wants the same. Washington resumed military assistance and intelligence sharing with Kyiv immediately after the war-torn nation accepted the US-led plan. World leaders have lauded the truce, saying it's an important and integral step towards peace in Ukraine. British and French leaders, as well as Germany's Olaf Scholz, hailing the progress made by the US and Ukraine and upping the pressure on Russia to agree to an end to fighting as well. More, we have Ross Cullen live from Kyiv. Ross, we were speaking to you last night on this very same bulletin, and you said Kyiv, at that point, when we asked you what would Ukraine be wanting out of this deal, you said they would be looking for security guarantees. Whatever details we might have on this proposed 30-day ceasefire right now, the assumption is that in return, Kyiv has got some kind of guarantee, but also it has had to make some compromises on its end as well. Do we see any shape of this 30-day ceasefire deal at this point? Any details?
Well, Andriy Yermak, who was the lead negotiator for the Ukrainian delegation in Saudi Arabia on Tuesday, did say that security guarantees formed part of the conversation with their American counterparts, but there was still negotiations that needed to happen on that. In terms of the ceasefire, that is going to be, if it is approved, if it is put in place, interim, immediate. It would last for 30 days, although it would be renewable upon mutual agreement of all parties. It would take place on the front line, including the Black Sea, and although it wouldn't be a permanent solution to the war, it would be a first step, a starting point in trying to bring the conflict to a close. It does seem that Ukraine went into the discussions with Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, and Mike Waltz, the National Security Advisor from the United States in Saudi Arabia on Tuesday, with the idea of a truce in the air and at sea. But the United States came back to the Ukrainian delegation saying we needed a tougher idea, we needed a ceasefire that would last for 30 days, an immediate cessation of hostilities, and Ukraine agreed to that. And there was alignment between Washington and Kyiv. They both decided to release a joint statement at the end of the talks. And now all eyes will be on Moscow to see if they also sign up to this agreement.
A reflection of that alignment. Ross, Poland's foreign minister confirming today that US aid deliveries, military aid deliveries to Ukraine that take place through Poland have resumed to their original levels. So right after this deal was in fact reached. So good news there for Ukraine. How else has it reacted to this latest development?
Yeah, that's right, Wei Su. That was one of the key objectives for Kyiv in the discussions with the United States, to see the restart of the flow of military aid, and confirmed by Poland, where a lot of US military material has been stockpiled. Ukraine also wanted to see the restarting of the sharing of military intelligence with the Ukrainian armed forces, and the United States Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has confirmed that that has also restarted. So they managed to achieve those objectives. But we did also see a pretty much immediate response from Russia in terms of the attacks on Ukraine. Just hours after the release of that joint statement from both sides in Saudi Arabia, there were air raids across most of the country, including here in the Ukrainian capital. I was due to report for CNA, and there was an air raid here in the capital, and we did hear the distinctive noises, the explosions of the air defense system here in Kyiv, intercepting incoming Russian drones. But there were deaths confirmed in the east and the south of the country, and so it shows, although there is a lot of positive conversation at the moment about this possible ceasefire, it has not been introduced yet, and the military action continues.
And thanks. That was Ross Cullen live from the Ukrainian capital. We're looking at whether Russia also says yes to this US-led deal for 30-day ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine.